In the virtual age that we find ourselves living in today, if we are not consistently creating and putting out content into the world for others to find and see, our work, and to a large extent, we don't really exist outside our immediate sphere of influence. And in many ways, our digital life is just as important as our physical, real life. But it is very challenging, especially if you're a perfectionist, to create enough good quality content and put it out there on a consistent basis across a multitude of social media platforms in order to grow an audience and truly take advantage of the opportunities offered to us by social media. So in today's video, I want to show you a breakdown of how to never run out of enough good quality content ideas to continue posting. I'll also give you the frameworks and structures for how to create social media content so that you can create your own content creation system, which will help you to save time. Step number 1 is research. Firstly, we need to do some research in order to find out who exactly our target market or audience is. From that, we can create content that is centered around our niche much better. So take some time and write down who is your target audience and who you're going to make your content for. What sort of demographics do they have? And anything that will help give you a more clear idea of who it is you're speaking to. You do not need to be a business to have a target market. You just need to know who it is you want to connect with and who you want to attract with the content that you're producing. If you want to go a little bit deeper in your audience research, you can use a site like Google Trends that will help you see what kind of terms and searches your target demographic is searching and what possible content ideas you can get from that. You could also just use sites like Google and YouTube, type in your niche in the search bar and see what the autofill suggests. This will give you a few ideas around what your target market is searching, what their needs are, and this will help give you a few ideas on what kind of content you can create for them. Or if you're really struggling on ideas, you can use this incredible website called answerthepublic.com and type in some keywords and search it. This will provide you with a lot of associated searches to those keywords you typed in, and you can use those to brainstorm content creation ideas. Step number 2, as I've just mentioned, brainstorming. Now that you've done the research and you found out a whole host of keywords and search terms that your audience is potentially searching, you can have a short brainstorming session. So take a pen and some sticky notes and write down as many content ideas as you can based on the keywords and search terms that you have. If you are struggling, refer back to your notes and see all the search terms that might spark some new ideas for you, and try and write down as many content ideas as you can in that 10-minute time. So in this brainstorming session, you're basically writing down the titles or key concepts of content you want to create. For example, 5 tips on how to create better designs. This should be ideas of content that you want to create. And from those ideas, we're going to be moving on to the next step, which is structuring our content. So after your brainstorming session, you should have a whole host of content ideas that you want to make. And you might be wondering which of these are actually good ideas and which of these I should just scrap. And for that, you can ask yourself these few questions as qualifiers. Is my content educational? Is my content entertaining? Will this content save someone time? Is this content idea clear and concise? Is this content motivating or inspiring? If you replied yes to any of those 5 questions, you can use that piece of content. It might not be the best, but at least it qualifies. But if you answered no to all 5 of those questions, it's best to scrap that idea or save it and maybe see if you can come up with a better title or idea later on. Step number 3, create content templates and structures. All that you have to do then is take that idea that you came up with after your brainstorming session and fit it into your structure. So firstly, let us focus on creating a content structure that we can use into the future to help us create content with ease. There are a lot of different structures we can use depending on the type of content we want to make and the type of platform we're going to be posting it on. For example, if you're using Instagram and Twitter to post your content, the structures you create for both of those platforms will look very different. And that is because the type of content posted on each app is different respectively. So for this video, I'm going to give you some ideas for structures you can use for Instagram. Otherwise, if I were to show you an example for every other platform, this video would be way too long. Here's an example of a structure you could use for an Instagram carousel post. Picture number 1 is your intro or hook. 2 to 7 is the explanation, information, or guide for the content that you want to share. 8 to 9 is the summary or the key takeaway points. And number 10 is your CTA or your call to action. Or another example of a carousel post could be, picture number 1 could be your cover photo, picture number 2 could be your intro to the topic, picture number 3 to 9 could be the steps involved, and picture number 10 again your CTA or call to action. One final idea for a carousel post could be picture number 1 your cover or hook, picture number 2 to 3 the problem you've identified for your audience, picture number 4 to 9 your own experience, your story, or the solution to that problem. And number 10, your call to action. From these examples you can see you can create any number of basic structures from this basic format, creating curiosity to hook your audience in, introduce a topic or problem, then share your solution or steps, etc., summarize or key points to note, and then your call to action. Note that not every post that you post should have a call to action. Otherwise, your audience is going to get really tired if you're constantly selling at them, and they'll start to unfollow you and disengage from the content you create. For single posts on Instagram, you do not have much of a structure as it's just a single post, but you have ideas of what kind of content you can create for those types of posts. Single posts can be tips, photos of yourself, or something that you're experiencing at that point. Do not just post another salad photo or photo of your coffee. Be original and show what you're working on, etc. Make sure it adds value. Even if the value you're adding is just in the caption, make sure that the post you're making is engaging and connects with your audience. Tips for creating Instagram Reels. Reels can be short video tutorials using the same structure you used in your carousel. They can be about what is trending now or in your industry, or it can just be something entertaining, but remember to be brand consistent in what you post. If you're posting content about how to become a better graphic designer, and the next day you post a video about a cute cat, it might not be the best engaging content for your audience. But you know, the internet loves cats, so maybe it's not a bad idea. Okay, so that was a brief look at how to create and structure your content to help you save time. Now let's briefly look at creating templates so that you don't have to create a new design from scratch every time you want to create a post. If you do not have any designing knowledge, that's fine. There are alternatives to designing software specifically made for content creation, like Canva. Canva is great in that you're already provided with a whole bunch of templates to choose from when creating your social media posts. Here you can choose one of the many templates that they provide. Just be sure to make the adjustments necessary so that it stays true to the brand identity you've created and the look and feel of what you want to go for. For paid software like Adobe or Affinity Designer, you can create your own templates, save it, and then access it later and change a few of the things around in that software just to make it look a little bit more fresh and change the text of whatever new content you want to create. I'm not really going to talk a lot about this because if you can and have those software, you generally know how to use it and you can create your own content. Just make sure that you're making enough templates so that you're not reusing the same 5 templates over and over. If you are, your audience is going to get really tired really quickly of seeing the same stuff, and they might even think that you're just reposting the same content, even if your text and message is different. Step 4. Redistribution potential. So now that you've got your ideas in order, you have the structure you want to use to create your posts, and you have some templates at your disposal, it is a good idea before you start creating your content to think about the redistribution potential of the content you want to create and for which content platforms you're creating it for. For example, if you want to use Instagram as your main platform for distributing your content, you may take the text that you used in your Instagram posts and make a few tweets about that. Or you may even make a small video talking about the key points of your Instagram post and elaborating a bit further, maybe even sharing some examples or your personal experience and uploading that to YouTube or TikTok. This is incredibly powerful as you're essentially creating multiple pieces of content for multiple different platforms, giving you more exposure at less time spent. It is always a good idea to, after you have your idea and your structure, to think where else can you repurpose this content for, even if it means taking a little bit extra time to make sure that it's suitable for each individual platform. This may sound like a lot of work, but once you've decided on the platforms you want to distribute your content to and you've created your system, it will be a lot easier to create multiple forms of content into the future. For example, you can write a blog on your personal website if you have one. You can use that blog as a script for a YouTube video. You can then use that YouTube video and cut that YouTube video into smaller bite-sized chunks and put that on Instagram or TikTok. You can again use that blog and cut that into small bite-sized chunks and put that on Twitter as a multiple tweet thread. You can even repurpose the audio from your YouTube video and use that as a podcast. This may sound like a very complex process, but once you've taken the time and you've invested in it and you've started to develop your system, you'll find your own tips and tricks and processes to make this a lot easier and quicker for yourself. Step number 5, create your content. Now it's time to actually get to creating the content that you want to post. When creating content, it might be a good idea to set aside enough time so that you can batch create about a week's worth of content or more depending on your content scheduling needs. This is so that you're as productive as possible and make sure that you're not wasting any time by creating one post a day every single day. Step 6, schedule your content. After you've created your posts and you're happy with them, it is time to schedule them for the week ahead. You can use professional tools like Hootsuite or free options like Later.com. Be aware that Later.com also has its limits as it does have a professional version. I think the limit for the free version is 30 posts per month. After that, you'll need to pay a monthly subscription to use that software. But it will definitely be worth paying for their services if you are already posting more than 30 times a month. A lot of people actually miss this step. They take all the time to do the brainstorming, to collect the ideas, to write them down, to create their structures, to create the content even, but sometimes they just don't press that publish button. This is why scheduling your content is so key. You might actually forget to post it, or life gets in the way and you forget. Eventually, some of those posts might become outdated or irrelevant, and you might not even want to post some of the things you've created. So it is important to set aside enough time in your week to make sure that you actually schedule and upload your content. Step 7, review your posts. Now the last step in your content creation system is to review your posts. You can easily review the performance of your content on the Insights tab on each individual platform. This will be useful to show you what exactly resonated with your audience and what didn't. From that, you can write down what you learned from that experience and help you improve your posts into the future. You can go very deep into the analysis, from what type of message you used, the color scheme, the type of message you used, even the font of the text you used. As you can tell, you can go incredibly deep with this and try and find out the optimum way to post your content, but don't overthink things. You can then take those findings that you've used in your analysis, implement that into your content and see if your content improved. So to summarize, we can rapidly decrease the amount of time we spend creating content and create content more effectively by having a content creation system we follow, where we start by doing some market research. From there, we brainstorm as many ideas as we can to get as many content ideas as possible. From there, we use the structures and templates you've got from this video and use that to create content more effectively. After you've created your batch of content, you use your content scheduler and schedule every single piece of content. After your content has run its course, you can review and analyze the content and how it performed. You can then take those analyses and implement that into your next batch of content. So that does it for this video. I hope that you got some value out of it and that you are now on your way to create content more effectively. If you did like it, please leave a like and a comment below and subscribe to see more videos like this into the future. Until next time, goodbye friends.